Manchester United back to winning ways for the first time in over a month, up to sixth in the table, above Crystal Palace, the side that they came from behind to beat by 2-1. Good morning, everyone. Mark Donaldson alongside Janusz Mihalik. And Janusz, if you'd told me at half-time, given the way the first half was, with Palace ahead, and could have been ahead by more, that Manchester United would be leaving with 3 points, it would have been difficult to imagine how. So quite simply, first question, what changed in the second half to ensure that United went back north with the victory?
Yeah, I mean, in the first half, it looked like the whole game to me looked like a League Two team, trying to upset a Premier League giants. That's how bad Manchester United looked like an FA Cup game, sort of. So, yeah, you're quite right. Crystal Palace were good. Mateta a couple of chances in the first half to make it 2-0 as well, or even before they scored. So United just showed character, and there's no two ways about it. The script has flipped right after the first half. I think you and I would have had some really choice words about Manchester United, the state of the team, the state of the club, and all of that. But give credit to Manchester United, because in the second half, obviously, speaking of choice words, something must have happened in the second half. But it's the leadership. The center of the pitch absolutely changed. Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro changed the game. Mason Mount, whom I didn't see in the first half, was better, not just because he scored that. And let's face it, 2 set pieces. And, if we're going to give credit to Arsenal for all the goals they scored, we've got to give credit to Manchester United for executing 2 set pieces well.
It's a tough place to go at the best of times. So for United to come away with 3 points right at the end, Ruben Amarim with a fist pump and the United fans celebrating, that's a huge 3 points for United. Let's get to the game. And before the penalty, which we will discuss with Mateta having to retake it, he'd had a few chances in that first half. And he's a striker that never hides. Could he be a better finisher? Yes, but he always seems to get in positions. What did you make of his first half performance, Jean-Philippe Mateta?
Well, I mean, in that one-on-one, he probably should have put that away, right? I mean, he's the player that needs space. He's powerful, and we saw that. Manchester United have given him space, and I think the changes also are that they were a little bit, not just better organized, but they dropped off a little bit tighter. I think that line of defense, or maybe the whole formation, they were a little bit tighter, but maybe not as high. If you let Mateta run, he will score. Otherwise, as we all know, he's not the most technical player out there. He's powerful. He likes to field defenders on his back, to turn on them as well. So I think those were the adjustments, I have to imagine, at halftime. But as far as the players concerned, he's filling the void. I mean, we all know about Crystal Palace and them losing their best players. Always felt that he, maybe in the past, he was a little bit in the shadow, but now, given the fact that he's the main man, he usually delivers.
Mm-hmm. Let's give you a little bit of background about why the penalty was retaken. And to do that, we have to go back to March and a Champions League tie between Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid. It went to a penalty shootout, and Julian Alvarez of Atleti scored. However, VAR noticed a double touch. Now, once there's a second touch, the goal under the laws of the game back then has to be nullified. Very harsh. So what IFAB and FIFA did in June is they sanctioned an accidental double touch and a tweak to the law that said if this happens and the ball ends up in the back of the net, the goal will not count. However, unlike with Julian Alvarez back in March, there will be an attempt to retake. So that is why Mateta had the second attempt, scored it, put it the other way that he did the first one from the double touch. Let's go back to the challenge by Leny Yoro, though, on Philippe Mateta. It was unnecessary, but it was all about the through ball from Adam Wharton. A lot to get to here. I thought Wharton was outstanding in the first half. There's your description of the penalty, and there's your silly challenge by Leny Yoro.
Yeah, you explained it well. Just to add the difference between Manchester United in the first half and the second half. And I've mentioned the 2 players in the center of the pitch, Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro. Wharton was excellent in the first half. We didn't see him in the second half. He was taken out of the game as well. So, I mean, that's one. Yeah, the play was good. Leny Yoro, of course, stupid. It's just stupid. No questions about that. He was late. He didn't read that. He overcommitted on that play. And then in the end, I don't really know why he even committed that foul, because he was, so far beaten that, you almost stay away from that. It wasn't even a challenge on the ball. It was just a clumsy fall from him. I don't know how else to explain that. So, yeah, a tale of two halves. After the debacle against Everton for Manchester United, they show character. They show a little bit of quality, because in the end, let's just wait a little bit, right? First win in 3. I mean, let's not forget that Manchester United haven't even scored in the league against Palace since, I think, like February or 2023 as well. So, I mean, let's not judge them too early in terms of, is this a catalyst? They're moving up the table without playing well. And meanwhile, there's still massive, massive questions for me about Manchester United, in particular, Ruben Amarim.
I get that. Now, if you're a United fan watching this, and I'm sure there are many, there's a time and a place to go in with both feet and to say that's unacceptable, or that's not good enough, or Amarim's this, or this is that. This is after a win. This isn't the time to do that, is it?
No. I mean, you give him credit, right? I mean, wins are important. This could be a catalyst of some sorts. The schedule ahead doesn't look formidable for Manchester United, so they have an opportunity. But in the end, you and I, we have to judge the team and say, okay, this was a win, but was there anything special about that win? Was there anything about that system that Ruben Amorim is so inflexible in? And the answer to that is no, because we haven't seen any quality chances created, right? 2 set pieces, as I mentioned. Zirkzee, a big goal from an unbelievable angle, really, right? Let's be honest here. And then another set piece. We gave them credit for that, but from the run of play, we didn't see anything. I still think that Ruben Amorim is as flexible as a 2x4, really, for the most part. And, I'm not sure if he truly believes in his players. We saw those quotes about wing backs not functioning and not being the best, he said. I think he meant, probably meant at their best, I hope anyway. And as I mentioned, yes, players are missing, but so what? Everybody's missing players. And so I'm not sure how much he believes in the players that he has. He'll say he does, of course, every manager does. I'm not sure if the players believe in what he's trying to accomplish. I'm pretty sure that the fans, at the end of the day, truly don't believe that this is a Manchester United that is progressing. And I don't even want to get to the owners, right? Because we all know where they are. But, let's not forget, the reason I'm not getting excited, I'm giving all credit to Manchester United for the win, but I'm not getting excited because in the end, this is the second most valuable club in the world. And here we are.
Joshua Zirkzee. Now, tomorrow, as we record on Sunday, so tomorrow, Monday, would have been the 1-year anniversary of Zirkzee's last Premier League goal. But he scored to become the first Manchester United player, as you quite rightly referenced, to score against Palace in the Premier League since February 2023, when Marcus Rashford scored the second goal in a 2-1 win at Old Trafford. Again, I don't know if you want to kind of go first half, second half, because very, very different in the second half. Overall, he was leading the line today, Joshua Zirkzee. How did he do?
I think he did okay. Look, I mean, I'm always happy for players that are struggling, right? I mean, he's not the first choice. Benjamin Šeško, obviously unavailable. He's been struggling. But then again, who hasn't really been struggling for Manchester United when you look at the season as a whole? And even if you look at, I don't know how many ever seasons as well. So it's a first step. It's a first step. You want that competition. You want Zirkzee to make sure that he competes with Benjamin Šeško. I think he was smart and he was good in the game that Manchester United played. Because remember, against Everton, obviously we know there were 10 men. There's so many crosses coming in into that game, and there was no finishing there, right? Here, the game wasn't played in the wide areas for the most part for Manchester United, where I think Zirkzee in that combination game, kind of getting in between lines, that's his strength, right? I'm not saying that if the wide game wasn't better, he wasn't going to function well, but that's probably not his game. So for what Manchester United had to deal with today, I think Zirkzee's role was a little bit easier, and maybe that's the reason that he thrived in it.
Mm-hmm. You spoke about the upcoming schedule for Manchester United. Now, they would have loved to have done better in the League Cup, but they lost on penalties to Grimsby. But what that means is they don't have any distractions now. They would like some European football, League Cup or whatever, but there is nothing until the FA Cup weekend, which takes place in the second weekend in January. So here's the fixtures between now and then. West Ham at home is next up, then Wolves away, Bournemouth at home, Villa away, Newcastle at home, Wolves at home, Leeds away, and Burnley away. Those are the games before they face another non-Premier League fixture, which will be the FA Cup. I totally get why you're saying let's not get carried away. It's one victory. It's a good victory. But with those games coming up, what should Manchester United be looking for? Not for a points total, but for momentum to build from for the second half of the season.
No, they have the responsibility to win those games. They're still good enough. I mean, we can talk and break down this squad and and compare it to others, and that doesn't make sense. But I think, given the position they're in, given the fact that they've won this game, it's I don't want to call it a Christmas gift, but it almost felt that way after the first half. That's momentum. They're rising up the table as well, and they've got to look at those games as winnable because one of the things about Manchester United, and you said it right, that you don't want to go with both feet after a team wins because they solved the issues they had in the first half. But my feeling about Manchester United is as bad as they have been, not just this season, but overall, they give me a feeling that they find ways. They sometimes find ways to grind, and be it against big clubs or even small clubs sometimes, right? And part of me thinks that this is going to change for them. What I mean by change is that they are capable of going on the run, right? I mean, if you give somebody enough time, they'll come good, right? Because the thing about Ruben Amarim, I deep down don't think he's the man to see this project through. But if you give somebody enough time, they're going to find that period of time when they look good. We just can't forget that the time before that is time lost because this is Manchester United, right? You can't have a team as big as Manchester United to say, well, look at that. We've won 3, 4, 5 in a row, thinking that, in the past 2 seasons or 3 seasons, that goes deeper than Amarim as well. You've lost so many games, so many opportunities to be the big club that Manchester United are. So, look, I fully expect at some stage Manchester United to go on that run. There are no excuses. This is a massive club, and this is a project that Ruben Amarim tells us day in and day out that he's making progress. I remember Mikel Arteta doing that. But look at the squad and look at the way Arsenal are being built. I look at Manchester United, they're nowhere near that, but still have the responsibility to play like a big club.
They're also a side that have had 2 games in 6 days. They've won the one that most people thought they wouldn't win, and they lost the one that most people thought they would win at home to Everton. And I think those 2 games in 6 days kind of encapsulate what Manchester United are right now. Yes, they can get good results at tough places, but until they get rid of those silly points-dropping losses against the likes of Everton or at Brentford or places like that, that's going to be their Achilles heel. How do you resolve that issue and get that consistency that they will need on this next run of fixtures?
You have to be in a position to control the whole game. And for the most part, when you do that, you're going to win games. Not always, but for the most part, right? And today we didn't see that in the first half. We can go so much deeper. You can look at defensively, right? That defense is not sound. Lisandro Martinez came back today. That's big in time, right? He's not going to be a player that all of a sudden, after such a long time, not being able to play, is going to just walk into that lineup and control the back three. But as we've seen with Euro, game in and game out, I don't know if he's not ready. I'm not sure. Maybe not experienced enough. Still very young, but making so many mistakes. De Ligt, still much better for Manchester United, it has to be said, but still not the sort of player where you can feel comfortable that he's going to do that every game. Luke Shaw looked decent today, I have to say. And, when he's good, I think that makes Manchester United defense much better. So, look, control is everything. And I just think that Manchester United hasn't shown me just yet that they can control games for the most part.
Let's take a look at the table. There's obviously games ongoing as we speak. We're recording live on the final whistle of Crystal Palace 1, Manchester United 2. Liverpool are playing right now, and Liverpool and Manchester City are probably the two teams that Manchester United fans most kind of look at as far as their biggest rivals, their city rivals and their big rivals from along the motorway. Now, when you're only 4 points behind Manchester City, and this is not a get carried away, this is a question about a sensible Man United fan who looks at where they are right now, and they haven't been at their best, but they're currently 6th in the table. They're 4 points behind Manchester City, and I know Liverpool are playing right now, but United are 2 points ahead of them. So 6th right now, what would realistically be a sensible Man United fan's kind of thought process as to what would be a good season from this point?
If I were a Manchester United supporter, I would think this is a massive, massive opportunity, right? Because, I mean, in the last, I don't know how many seasons, we've been just talking about Manchester United, how bad they are. Now we have others we can talk about. Liverpool struggling, as we all know it, right? Manchester City, obviously, this is a team that's nowhere near the team that we've seen over the past 5-6 seasons, where they were really winning everything with ease for the most part. We'll see what happens with Arsenal and Chelsea later today, right? If Chelsea wins that makes it even tighter. So I think if you Manchester United and you know that you're nowhere near your best, this is an opportunity, because there are other teams that we'll talk more about. We'll see what Liverpool does in London today. It's not going to be easy, just like it was for Manchester United. So I think that I don't want to see that Manchester United on the back pages, but it's certainly not on the front pages as often as they have been in the past. So I would like this position, especially after this win. I'm going to stop short of calling fortunate, because they showed in the second half that they can dominate game, but it was fortunate in so many ways, because this conversation could have been much, much different if Crystal Palace saw that through in the way they did, Mark, in the first half. I think right now we'll be realistically calling for Amarim's head.
Final question for you. I won't ask for a position, right? Because we're end of November. Manchester United are currently 6th. The question is simply this. Will Manchester United, however they get into Europe, be playing European football next season?
Oh, they can get to Europe. But as it stands right now, I'm not ready to say that they can get into top 4 in the Champions League. I haven't seen enough, not enough quality just yet, and not enough from the manager, Ruben Amarim. But it's possible to get into Europe for sure.
And the other thing is as well, with English teams doing so well, if an English team wins the Europa League, England could have 6 representatives in the Champions League next season. So there will be plenty of opportunities, as there are for Manchester United now with these next run of games coming up. Was it pretty? Certainly not in the first half, but was it effective? Yes, it was. And Manchester United, thanks to goals from Mason Mount and also a decent strike from Joshua Zirkzee, get all 3 points and come from behind against Crystal Palace. Join us later today for full reaction to Liverpool's game at West Ham and the other 9:05 Eastern Time kickoffs. And then Janusz and I are back live after Chelsea against Arsenal. Bye for now.